Most series that go 8 episodes are immediately forgotten. No fuss, fanfare, or farewell. Most of those shows miss the mark and go quietly into the night. Manimal was different. Somehow, over 40 years later, a show that lasted only 3 months in late 1983 still is remembered by a dedicated following that still remembers the mix of ancient magic and emerging tech that made this series much more than a flash in the pan. This is the story of Manimal, Bite Bigger Than Bark. Manimal was a very short-lived 1983 television series that ran on NBC about a college professor named Jonathan Chase who learned how to shapeshift as a child. As an adult, he uses his powers to help the NYPD solve unconventional crimes using the powers of the animals he shifts into. It was a fascinating and quirky early 80s sci-fi series that was light on established names but heavy on captivating television. Simon McCorkindale played the title character, and he was a young, suave, handsome British-born professor of animal biology who was recruited by the NYPD to assist in solving crimes, and he uses his secret abilities to earn small victories in the concrete jungle of New York City. He combined posh style with rock and roll cool, and always made sure he stayed his own man. He and his friends would fight crime every week on Saturday night in late 1983. It was fresh, cool, and fairly unique for its time. An incredibly witty, well-written show, but despite being a Glenn A. Larson creation and nailing the typical early 80s posh aesthetic and beats, Manimal went up against some very stiff competition, and its quest for Nielsen positioning was always an uphill battle. Unfortunately, Manimal failed to find an audience during its initial run. It struggled against competition from shows like The Love Boat, Airwolf, and most notably, the pilot got wiped out by Dallas. Solid enough competition to make it impossible for Manimal to find its footing. They blew Manimal out of the proverbial water head-to-head, and Manimal went out with a whimper before 1983 was even over. Just 8 episodes were made before NBC gave it the axe. However, unlike most series canceled before their time, Manimal's failure to find an audience had less to do with its content and more to do with how NBC promoted the show.
Man, oh man, oh Manimal. Tomorrow night, Professor Jonathan Chase will thrill America as Manimal, a different breed of crime fighter. Sometimes a snake, sometimes a charmer. I was a real pussycat. Manimal, premiering right after Mr. Smith tomorrow.
There was little room to showcase the show's abundant style and flair, not to mention the state-of-the-art makeup and metamorphosis clips, which showed Chase morphing from human to animal before the viewer's very eyes. To be fair, it is somewhat hard to promote a show as quirky as Manimal, but a good support campaign could have helped. Manimal was one of many flash-in-the-pan series of the 80s. Series that, while they didn't last long, had long-lasting legacies. Airwolf and Blue Thunder were both based on the movie of the same name which had hit theaters the previous summer. They all revolve around state-of-the-art helicopters that use high-tech to fight crime Wild West style. Automen was Tron for the real world. All of these shows gained cult followings, and all were on during the same television season. They all got remembered, however, through word of mouth and subsequent cable reruns on channels like Sci-Fi Channel. This is how those shows, including Manimal, gained a following and a legacy. Why Manimal still matters. Manimal always combined the fantastical with cutting edge. It stayed with people because it had that unique 80s makeup consisting of high stakes, cool chrome style, and fantastical panache. It paved the way for shows like MacGyver and Remington Steele. They too combined sheer style with rock and roll cool and a knack for using whatever it took to save the day. We still love heroes like that. Most importantly, it's shows like Manimal that made us take a step back and redefine what we called a failure. Manimal only lasted 8 episodes, but over 40 years later, it's still beloved by a dedicated fan base. It didn't lead to another season, or any accolades, or even a firm spot in the American pop culture consciousness, but it did manage to break through to a dedicated audience, and in the end, isn't that what really matters? Connecting with your viewer. Manimal didn't achieve typical mainstream success, but because it's still talked about 4 decades later, it's safe to say that this show succeeded. It proved sometimes the shortest trips are also the most memorable.
Master of the secrets that divide man from animal. Animal from man. Manimal.